Hey everyone, welcome back to the Brickmaker channel, and today I wanted to bring you another top ranking video. Not the normal challenge runs that you're used to seeing on this channel. Today I wanted to bring you not a top 10, a top 5 for Fallout 4. If you guys missed it, I already made a top 10 guns in Fallout New Vegas. And today I wanted to bring you a top 5 guns in Fallout 4. The reason I wanted to make it a top 5 is because the original idea was top 10, but then I realized there was so many different categories and so many different variants of weapons that I didn't want to just isolate it to 10. I'm going to do top 5s, but multiple top 5s. These will only be weapons that you can find in Fallout 4, meaning that anyone watching this video can go pick up these weapons right now. So this will exclude weapons like the explosive combat shotgun, as this is a weapon that you would have to luckily pick up on a legendary drop. This video will focus on rifles and submachine guns. The reason this is my first one is because A, my favourite weapons are the kind of bullet rifles and submachine guns, and B, I just finished a World War II video for Fallout 4 and I've been using tons of weapons with bullets and I've just been having a lot of fun. So this was the first video I wanted to make on this since the weapons are so fresh in my head. Please leave your own top 5 list down below. And please remember to leave a like on the video. Without any further ado, let's get started.
As I was saying, only two things the Frenchies are any good at: surrendering and kissing.
The first weapon I want to discuss is Les Fous Terribles. A very strange name, but I believe it's a play on the terrible shotgun from Fallout 3. This weapon is a lot of fun to use. And if you didn't know, the plus 25 damage but with more recoil is the violent legendary effect. If you're unsure where to get the terrible shotgun, or les fous terribles, God, I'll try not to do that again, then you can pick it up pretty much from the start of the game. You can pretty much run there straight from Good Neighbor at a location called Libertalia. If you're not sure where that is, it's next to Fort Strong or Norhagen Beach, which is another settlement that you can have. Going east from Norhagen Beach, you'll start to see this tipped over ship. Now I did say you can get this right from the start of the game, but I must say it's crawling with raiders. If you've ever done the Institute questline, this is actually a location for one of the quests. As you can see in the map here, Libertalia, just slightly east from Norhagen Beach, and just below this Half Moon Island. Once you arrive, you can avoid most of the raiders just by running past. And instead of walking your way all through the boards, you can just jump straight into the water and make your way over to this little ship. Now, you must be very careful as there's a raider with a fat man, which will do massive damage if you're not paying attention. Here you can't really avoid any of the raiders, you have to make your way up the ship. Battling your way through, you'll usually find a legendary raider and you can pick up a fat man at this point. And what you're looking for is the captain's cabin. Once you've entered the captain's cabin, it's just a case of walking through and you should be able to see Les Fous Terribles right in front of you. It's not in any sort of crate or anything, it's just sitting out in the open. Always take a moment to admire your weapons as it builds affinity like a Pokemon. And as soon as you're ready, you can go over and start maximizing your potential with it. I prefer this shotgun just to be one shot, I don't like the automatic receiver. And you can use other parts like Rifleman to upgrade its damage as much as possible. As you can see on screen here, the recoil is something, well, terrible. You can see here the second it just one shot how far the character flies back. However, it is more than made up for with this plus 25 damage. Using single shot is much more effective as the recoil in an automatic one can become quite uncontrollable. Plus, as you can see here with such a powerful enemy like Cleo, I'm able to take him out in just 2 or 3 shots. What I wouldn't recommend is what I'm doing here is aiming down sights. Unfortunately, it is a fool's errand because you will constantly be flying backwards and there is just no way to keep any sort of view on the people you're trying to take down. The best way is just to hip fire it. Hip firing, but also making sure that you're aiming, resetting yourself to make sure you're not firing all over the place. Although the weapon is called Les Fous Terribles, the only people having a terrible time are the people that I'm shooting at. Got him. As a weapon, any sort of close quarters or hallways, buildings is perfect for this weapon. And will actually be the only shotgun featuring on this list, pretty much meaning it's my favourite shotgun in the game. With all that, I would recommend any of you who are starting a new Fallout 4 save to pick up the terrible shotgun. I give you the Brickmaker seal of approval that you will not have a terrible time.
You're Jimmy, right? This is your house?
Sure is.
I'm Winston Wolfe. I solve problems.
The problem solver and his more luxurious and more expensive brother, the Splutter Cannon, are two of the best weapons from the Nuka World DLC. If you guys don't know how to get them, I'll show you right now. If you look over to the west side of the map, you will see the Nuka World Transit Center location. Now in game, this usually spawns up around level 30, you'll get the radio signal. But you don't have to wait for that, you can head here straight from level 1 as long as you know where the location is. Be aware though, I would not recommend coming here at level 1 as you have a lot of gunners you have to fight through. And you have to run through this entire gauntlet as well. And by the end, you got to take out the overboss of Coulter. However, when that's all done and you're best friends with Gage, the next thing you want to do is run out to the Nuka Town Market and you can speak to this guy. His name is Aaron and he's a bit of a dick. I mean, he's just been enslaved by, well, the raiders that you're now in charge of, so I don't get all the attitude, to be honest. However, when you've had some salty banter with him, you can have a look at all his wares. This is technically the fastest way to get this weapon. However, as you can see, it is not the cheapest way. And the reason why this entry has two weapons is because technically the problem solver is the actual number 4. If you don't feel like paying all that, you need to go speak to Gage and start the quest An Ambitious Plan. Now, it's very important here, when you're speaking to Mason, you must be constantly aggressive with him. It's something that a lot of new players don't realise, but with Mason, as long as you are aggressive and you act like the pack alpha, something to do with his gang, and pick every opportunity to intimidate him, once you've successfully done it all, he will give you another variant of the Splutter Cannon called the Problem Solver. The reason these weapons are both kind of coming in the same entry is because they're just the exact same weapon. Different attachments when you get them, but like I said, they both have the same legendary effect. That being the Furious effect. What the Furious effect does, as you can see at the top, is it increases damage with every consecutive hit on the same target. Now with a very large enemy with a large health pool, and you with an automatic weapon with a lot of ammo, this can start stacking damage unbelievably fast. If you hit one bullet on a target, it will do the said damage. You hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the damage constantly increases higher, higher and higher. That means for enemies with large health pools, you can take them down much quicker as long as you're accurate. The second that you miss one shot, that means the damage resets. Taking on enemies like Mirelurk Queens, giant hermit crabs, things of those nature, large boss battles, means that this weapon can absolutely melt through enemies very quickly. Even here with Mason, you can see how much the damage starts to build and build and build after just one clip into him. Now I know a lot of people like to use it single shot, so they try not to miss as many shots as possible, but my preferred method is to leave it fully automatic and get up and close. It does mean though you're better fighting small groups, as if you change targets over and over again, the damage resets. So it means it's not a weapon for every single combat situation, but very effective when you're going to fight one-on-one with either giant mutants or leaders of gangs or leaders of factions. And that's why it gets a spot at number 4 on my list. Now I know you guys are probably sitting there thinking, why is the railway rifle so high on this? And it's for what I believe to be a very simple and a very obvious reason. It goes choo choo when you reload it, and I like that. But in all seriousness, in one of my first videos on Fallout 4, I did an entire playthrough with the railway rifle. Now before that, it was always one of my more favourite weapons. Mainly because of the damage it can do, and again, like I said, it goes choo choo. But I actually found out that doing a playthrough with only a railway rifle is quite difficult, because coming across ammo is not the easiest thing in this game for it. However, despite all that, I still really like this weapon, even though it's one of the main weapons for one of the worst factions in all Fallout games. God, I feel like I'm really not selling how much I like this weapon. Now you might be confused on why you're seeing gameplay right now with the spray and pray. It's because I'm showing you a very simple way on how to get the railway rifle. Murder everyone in the railroad and you can get one from Tinker Tom. I really enjoy the long, slick look of it as well. Now despite the third person bayonet, as you can see here, it has a very cool bayonet feature. Just a huge can covered in sharp spikes. I've always been a huge fan of weapons like the hunting rifle, you know, your single shot bolt actions. And although this isn't bolt action, it kind of operates like one. If you don't feel like taking out the entire railroad to get one, and you don't want to wait long enough to buy one from Tinker Tom, you can actually head here, Big John's Salvage, as soon as you spawn in on Sanctuary. This is one of the only locations where you can guarantee a spawn of the railway rifle at level 1. Now, do not look at the gameplay and think this is what Big John's Salvage is like, vertibirds and gunners fighting the Brotherhood. It's usually just super mutants. When you arrive at Big John's Salvage, you want to run through this building here. What you're looking for is a circuit breaker. The room in which a railway rifle is stored needs to be activated through this circuit breaker here. Quickly flip the switch and you should hear a big power surge go on through. That means you've done it successfully. Once you've cleared out the super mutants or just ran through all of them, which is also okay, make sure you bring plenty of stim packs, you want to be looking for a fridge. Now again, that also sounds like weird directions, but once you see this fridge stacked up on a blue container, that means you're on the right one. Simply fall down into here and open up this shelter. Once you're in, you'll find a railway rifle just sitting on top of this table. Just like the full Terrible, make sure you inspect and appreciate the weapon. This will build the affinity and also it will pay for your medical bills in old age. And when you're customizing it, I would not recommend the automatic piston receiver. Takes away about 40% damage and you don't get that much of an automatic weapon, to be honest. It shoots just as fast as single shot really. As you can see on screen here, I shoot 3 sharp metal rods at an airplane and it just explodes. And it also has one of these brilliant features where if you get a headshot in VATS, not just VATS but anywhere, you can actually impale an enemy's head onto a solid surface. And if you hit it on a door like this, you can make it float. Something that helps with the ammo situation as well is that when you take out an enemy, you can pick up railway spikes that may be left in their inventory. With all that, this is just a fun weapon and it's the reason why it's number 3 on my list. What can be said about the spray and pray that hasn't already been said before in many other videos? It's the best star pilot in the galaxy, and a damn good friend. I challenge anyone to find a video that says that about the spray and pray. But this weapon in Fallout 4 is very famous. It's one of the best early weapons that you can pick up, and it's why it's so high on the list. This again needs no DLC, it needs no fighting, no nothing. You can leave the vault and immediately go pick up this weapon. To gain this weapon, you can either go to Vault 81, there's different other places, but Vault 81 seems to be the easiest place for, well, me to be able to find the spray and pray. And you want to be waiting as much as possible for a person called Cricket to arrive. This may take a couple of attempts. I like to just use this mattress in the back just to sleep over and over again for an hour at a time. And eventually you'll see this fiend looking woman standing here. This is Cricket, and she is the salesman, or saleswoman, I don't mean to offend, that will be carrying the spray and pray. Other noticeable locations is just outside Diamond City here. I usually find her walking this path through here. I must admit though, this is a pretty inconsistent way to find her. I wouldn't be waiting here too much because she'll be on the move, which means it's not very easy to nail her down here. It's usually just by passing. Or you can head over to Bunker Hill where she might be randomly waiting as well. Same tactic as Vault 81, she'll be behind you just over at that shop. You'll notice on screen that it's called the Thompson for me. That's because I've been recently using it in a World War II playthrough. The spray and pray has the explosive effect. That means when every bullet lands, it has 15 points of area of effect damage. They also explode on impact. This weapon is almost the opposite of the Splatter Cannon or the Problem Solver. Instead of looking to land every shot, this weapon is perfect for large groups. I found it especially effective on ghouls, especially the ghouls that have large health, as it can cripple and take out their legs just in a couple of shots. I've found what you want to wait for to happen is to get all your enemies in a group and then just start shooting at their legs. The 15 points of area damage will hit everything near it. As you can see here with the super mutants outside Diamond City, there is nothing that I'm aiming at. I'm just firing into the building, and you can see constant hit markers popping up. As long as you're a little bit loose with your ammunition, you shouldn't have any problem hitting your target. There are certain points where I'm not even sure what I'm shooting at. You can see in this clip here there is a super mutant in there, but I can't see him, so I just start firing the bullets into the building, and eventually I hit my target. This is especially perfect if you want to wipe out large settlements. Battles such as the battle for the Institute, which is very close quarters and all the enemies are in large number, and especially if you want to go out and take out Diamond City, you want to attack the Pridwin, this weapon is perfect. One thing you should know though, it will cost anywhere between 2 to 3,000 caps, so if you want to pick up this weapon at the beginning of the game, make sure you're picking up as many different types of loots, make sure you grab the gold bars that are in Sanctuary, so you're able to afford it. Where you deal with a dispute in a bar with a guy called Cook the Barman. Depending on how you complete that quest, you can find yourself into a chem deal, which you can steal 60 chems of every different type, and with all those caps you can easily afford to spray and pray. Something I just wanted to add here though is that I've never attacked Wellingham before. I did not know that he was similar to an Assaultron, that he'll start glowing if you attack him. And when you eventually take him out, he explodes just like an Assaultron would. Or a Sentry bot. As you can see on screen, I'm just hip firing randomly into Diamond City and I'm getting hit markers just popping up out of nowhere. The effectiveness and the crowd control aspect of the spray and pray is why it is number 2 on my list.
This is crucial to our survival. And frankly, I think you're the only hope we have.
The Overseer's Guardian for me was an easy number 1. And when I eventually do more top 5 lists for Fallout 4, I at this point I feel like the Overseer's Guardian would still be at least top 3, including every single category that's in this game. Despite being a bad first impression, I mean, short barrel, sniper scope, automatic, doesn't make much sense to me. However, you gotta look past that ugly face of it and find the true beauty that's within. It shoots an additional projectile. Like it says on the 10 for 2 shop, when you fire 1 bullet, 2 bullets come out. It's just like Double Tap 2.0, except it doesn't make the gun shoot faster. Just 2 bullets for the price of 1. In layman's terms, it means it does double the damage. Similar to the spray and pray, you have to come to Vault 81 to pick it up. However, you must get it at Vault 81. There's no other location where you can find the Overseer's Guardian. Now, you don't only have to just buy the weapon, there's also a huge cost for even getting into Vault 81. The Overseer tasks you with being a trader, and you need to bring them 3 fusion cores to be allowed to enter. Now, there is a red speech check. If you're lucky to pass it, you can get in without having to spend any fusion cores. However, if you fail like I did, you have to go get all 3. Luckily for you, if you've got Cricket outside, you can buy them from her. She usually has 3 to 5 fusion cores on her at any time. However, this will cost you about as much as it costs to buy the actual weapon itself. Once the doors to Vault 81 open, you have to quickly speak with the Overseer and hand over all your fusion cores. That's why I quit being a salesman. I was going to say, similar to the spray and pray, you can head here from Sanctuary and immediately get this, but as you've seen, if you don't get the lucky charisma check, there is a high cost of payment to get this weapon. However, saving and reloading is, some people frown upon it, but if it saves you 1800 caps, I mean, I don't see anything against it. After watching Alexis and her husband having a little bit of a domestic dispute, you can start bartering with her, and you can finally pick up the Overseer's Guardian. I was going to say 4,000 caps don't seem that bad, but it's really 6,000. As you can see, I've named mine Bar, as it reminds me of the World War II weapon. And although I use the automatic receiver in this playthrough, I prefer to use it with just a single shot. Using modifications like the 308 or just the high powered receivers for single shot, this weapon with the rifleman perk can more or less one shot the majority of high leveled enemies in this game. It also does extremely well as an automatic weapon as well, although I wouldn't recommend hip firing it as much as I do. Aiming down sights and shooting one shot at a time is more than enough, and this weapon with its 2-shot ability will, like I said, one shot and take out the majority of enemies in this game. It is pretty much the definition of an end game weapon. Once you've picked this up, it would be very difficult to find any legendary weapon that can outdo it. I think if I was to name some weapons that could possibly beat it, it would have to be random drops. Stuff like the explosive combat shotgun, other 2-shot weapons, explosive miniguns, things like that. And even then, this weapon more than often will hold its own against any other legendary effect weapon. The only weapon that I could say that I preferred to this was a wounding radium rifle that I had. However, like I said at the start of this video, random weapon drops just simply cannot count as it's all RNG. And that's why I believe that the Overseer's Guardian is the #1 gun that you can get guaranteed in Fallout 4. That's the end of this top 5. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys disagree with anything on my list, please leave a comment down below. I would love to read and reply to them. I've already seen other comments that want to discuss the top melee weapons in the game, so if you'd like to see that video, leave a comment down below as well. And if there's any other lists you would like to see, also leave that down below as well. I'm planning to do a Fallout New Vegas armor video soon. That's already being edited, so look forward to that later on. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.